Archangel Michael says, "The door you just opened was marked with your name long before you knew to knock. The corridor beyond it is narrow, bright, and silent, because what is spoken here becomes law over your days. Step in with your whole heart, and do not look back at the rooms that once taught you to shrink." A circle of light surrounds a table not made by human hands. Seats are taken by witnesses who have watched you in the hours no one else saw. They bring records, but not to accuse, to confirm that endurance is stronger than rumor. The meeting begins with a sound like breath held and then released. It washes over the table, it washes over you, and for the first time the world does not feel like a test you must pass alone. Heaven's clock blinks, and your name glows like a coal lifted from ash. You are told the truth, delay has been broken. The weight you carried was not a sign that you were cursed, it was proof you refused to trade your soul for quick applause. Even the dark recognized this, which is why it followed you so closely. A sealed scroll lies at the center of the table. It is wrapped in a band of gold that only loosens for those who choose courage over noise. Your hands are guided forward, steady as sunrise, and the seal loosens without a fight. Inside, the writing moves as if alive. Each line settles when your eyes meet it, like water finding its true level. The letters define what must enter your life and what can no longer remain. The first decree reads, "Restoration without repayment." What slipped through your fingers without justice must return in forms better than the ones that left. The return may come disguised as new work, new favor, new names that want to be connected to yours for the right reasons. The second decree reads, "Protection in public and private." Words spoken in rooms you never entered will fold and lose their teeth. The same mouths that rehearsed your fall will now produce quiet, because nothing thrown at a shield forged in this light can hold. The third decree reads, "Acceleration with wisdom." Your pace will quicken, but not into chaos. Your days will align the way constellations align, each point precise, each step necessary, each door timed for your arrival. You will not be exhausted by rise, you will be expanded by it. Archangel Michael says, "The room is brightened by a tender sound you have not heard in years, the sound of relief." It does not come from crowds, it comes from heaven itself, relieved that you did not abandon who you are. Tears fall, but they are not the same as before. These tears are a release of old winters. Now the witnesses speak one by one. They mention nights when you stopped and breathed and chose kindness even when your chest burned with want. They mention days when you walked away from counterfeit invitations that looked golden but felt hollow in your hands. As they speak, a ledger closes. It closes with a soft click that echoes into the rooms where your name was questioned. The echo is the announcement that your cycle of proving is ended. A map is brought forward. It does not show roads, it shows alignments, people, places, hours that meet you like doors waiting to be opened by your presence. Where the lines intersect, a small flame appears and holds. You touch the first flame, and it becomes a sign for the next 24 hours. It is small enough to tuck into your pocket and strong enough to alter the air when you enter a room. Watch for it to show in simple ways: a message at the exact minute you thought of someone, a stranger saying the precise phrase you needed, a delay that protects rather than frustrates. You touch the second flame, and it becomes a key. This key opens conversations with people who once saw you from a distance and misread your quiet as weakness. When the key turns, that misreading ends, and respect arrives without you chasing it. You touch the third flame, and it becomes a path. The path does not demand that you sprint, it asks that you stay in step with what is true. Each time you match truth with action, the path lights 3 paces farther. The air shifts as unseen doors lift. You feel it as a release in your shoulders and a steadiness in your breathing. The meeting is not a performance, it is an aligning of what was promised to what can finally land. A voice states, "No more half rooms for this one." It means no more tables where you're invited to bring light but asked to dim it. It means no more bargaining your gifts for a chair that wobbles on purpose. A new chair is placed and secured beneath you. It is shaped to your posture, and it does not creak when you tell the truth. People who sit beside you will be those who prefer building to jealousy. Now you are shown your own name written 3 ways. The first is the name the world used when it could not see clearly, mispronounced, mishandled, misunderstood. The second is the name you accepted when you were tired, smaller than the one you were given. The third is the name set on your life before fear taught you to fold. The third name rises and covers the other 2. This is not theater, this is identity returning to its rightful center. As your true name settles, your decisions become simpler and your boundaries stop apologizing. A cloak is laid over your shoulders. It is not a costume, it is authorization. You are not being made someone else, you are being restored to yourself without the noise that tried to claim you. Archangel Michael says, "Agreement has been signed in ink that does not fade." This is not an emotional spike, it is a structural change. You are stepping into rooms built to carry your weight. The secret meeting continues, and the next page concerns your timing. There is a season when pushing opens doors and a season when breathing opens them. The record shows you have pushed long enough, now you will breathe and watch doors understand. A bell rings twice. The first ring shakes loose the last clinging grief. The second ring summons the alliance that will not exploit you. You are told what to do with disappointment that lingers like smoke after a fire. Do not chase it out of the house, open a window and let clean air do what force cannot. The fresh air is not denial, it is proof the fire is out. An oil is placed in your hands. It is for marking thresholds. Where you live, where you work, where you create, touch the edges and declare that these spaces host only what nourishes. You are shown the difference between noise and signal. Noise demands that you react, signal invites you to respond. You will follow signal now, even if noise raises its volume to reclaim the stage. A book of almosts is presented and kept closed. It catalogs near breakthroughs, near relationships, near answers that overstayed their welcome. The decision today turns almost into arrived, not by magic tricks, but by alignment. The meeting shifts to speak of your voice. You will not be required to shout to be heard. Even your quiet words will travel farther because they are carrying weight, not worry. Your hands are blessed for work that matters. Not work that flatters a crowd and depletes your core, but work that leaves you fuller when you finish than when you started. Your calendar will begin to reflect this shift within days. Someone brings forward a mirror free of fog. You look in and see yourself without the dust of old opinions. The face looking back does not beg, it invites. The next decree unhooks you from comparisons that turned your life into a race with no finish line. Your path is not late. Your path is your path, and because of that, it will carry what others' paths cannot. You are taught a simple signal for discernment. When your peace rises, step forward. When your peace knots, step back. This appears elementary, but it is the compass that rescues years. The witnesses stand to applaud in a way that does not inflate you, it steadies you. The applause acknowledges that you did not lose yourself. It acknowledges that you have something the world cannot mass-produce. A soft wind enters the room. It brings the scent of new pages and open windows. It feels like the first day after a long illness when you remember your appetite. There is a final test presented to ensure your foundation is settled. The test is not pain, it is opportunity. You will be offered a glittering shortcut that looks like everything you asked for minus integrity. You will say no without ache. The table brightens with a promise regarding home. Home becomes a place where your nervous system unclenches. Conversation, quiet, and the sound of your own laughter will coexist without apology. The same promise touches your finances. The swing between scarcity panic and sudden rush ends. The cycle is replaced by steady provision that invites choices rather than frantic scrambles. A ribbon is cut over your name. This signals grand opening hours. Doors that were under construction for years will flip their signs to enter freely. The meeting reviews your past not to amplify regret, but to mine it for wisdom. What tried to break you taught you the architecture of wholeness. What tried to silence you taught you the contours of your sound. Heaven sets a perimeter around you. It is not a cage, it is a garden fence that keeps theft out and allows growth in. Inside it, you will experiment without fear of being plundered. The story from here simplifies. You will build. You will rest. You will pour, and you will be poured into. Where your name was lied about, truth now enters without debate. You will not spend years refuting false narratives. You will spend days becoming living proof that the narrative was false. The proof will be obvious enough that no argument will survive it. The decree over relationships arrives. Those who value you will find language to match their value. Those who used your steady heart to anchor their chaos will drift, not because you are cruel, but because their season as teachers of imbalance is over. Your body receives a note from the meeting. It instructs your cells to trust that the next chapter is safe to live in. The instruction calms the tension that taught your muscles to prepare for a blow even in kind rooms. You are given a schedule that honors energy instead of fighting it. Rest is not a prize for suffering, rest is a rhythm for brilliance. You do not have to earn your breath. The meeting addresses your creativity. What was blocked by overthinking begins to flow as you treat it like a river rather than a courtroom. Drafts, not verdicts, that is the new approach. A seal is placed on your memory. It does not erase what happened, it removes the sting that pulled you backward. The memory will now inform without imprisoning. This next portion is about legacy. Legacy is not fame, it is the wake your life leaves in the hearts you were assigned to touch. You will know your legacy by the steadiness it produces in others. Archangel Michael says, breathe this in and do not rush to announce it. Not everything must be posted to be real. Some things grow strongest in the shelter of quiet. You are given 3 simple daily anchors. Morning, choose uncluttered courage. Midday, choose one kindness without audience. Night, choose gratitude that is specific, not general. Over time, these anchors will tighten the weave of your days. Leaks that drained your joy will close without drama. You will watch small choices produce large clarity. Now the meeting turns to territory. Territory is not conquest over people, it is stewardship over assignments. Your next territory accepts your care and gives you back peace. You are told to forgive one last leftover debt, not money, but a silent IOU you kept on someone's name. You release it tonight. When you do, a locked drawer in your own heart opens and returns color to rooms that had gone grayscale. A rhythm of strength replaces a rhythm of proving. You will notice how your voice no longer shakes when you state your boundaries. This is not hardness, this is health. The last flames on the map lift and settle over 3 dates. You will know them when they arrive because they will carry ease, not anxiety. These dates are not tests, they are appointments you are ready to keep. A light robe is wrapped around your shoulders, it feels like permission. You can stand now without bracing for impact. You can walk without rehearsing apologies. The table dims to a warm glow. The witnesses nod as though a long assignment reached its conclusion. The scroll rewinds and seals again, but this time the band glows and stays soft to your touch. You are escorted to the threshold. On it is etched a sentence: you are not late, you are right on time for the version of you that can hold this. The sentence will follow you into rooms where old nerves once stole your breath. The doors you will open next are not traps. They will ask for presence, not performance. They will match your pace because they were timed for your healing, not your entertainment. A mantle of clarity rests on your thoughts. Decisions that once demanded weeks will take minutes. You will not over-explain, you will align and move. This clarity does not make you unkind. It makes you accurate. Accuracy is love's ally, because it keeps you where you can actually be of use. Your laughter returns without residue. It does not carry the edge it carried when you laughed to prove you were okay. It rings true, and people who love truth will come closer. The path ahead contains learning, but not the kind that humiliates. This is the kind that expands you. Every skill you acquire plugs directly into purpose. Your nights will rest lighter. The grinding will inside your mind will slow to a stop. You will wake refreshed enough to say yes to the day without bargaining for 5 more versions of later. The meeting's final mile concerns courage with tenderness. You will not swing between extremes anymore. You will be strong with a soft center, and that is exactly what your chapter requires. You are handed a small stone. On it is carved a word you recognize as yours. Keep it where your hand can touch it when the air gets loud. The stone is not a superstition, it is a reminder. When touched, it recalls the room you stand in now and how calm came and stayed. The reminder is stronger than any sudden gust of doubt. Your name is spoken one more time as a blessing shaped like a sentence: walk steady, carry light, expect return. It settles into your bones. It will rise when you need it without you forcing it to rise. Before you leave, the room offers one last kindness. It shows you a glimpse of your face when the next season has matured. You look rested, and your eyes hold the kind of joy that does not sprint away when no one is looking. The door opens back into your present. Nothing outside looks changed yet, but everything inside has been reset to true north. The compass hums under your ribs. You walk forward and the air greets you. The light recognizes you. Even the floor under your feet answers each step like a drum that knows your rhythm. From this moment, what is not aligned with your assignment will become heavy and dull. You will not fight to keep what is supposed to pass. Release will feel like strength, not surrender to loss. What belongs to you will quicken when you approach. People will not perfect themselves before they meet you, they will simply become clear about who they are. You will meet them without pretending you are smaller. The days that follow will carry a quiet procession of approvals. Paperwork will not tangle you. Logistics will line up as if they were waiting for your yes. Your work will take on color where it had faded. Ideas will stop collapsing under the weight of expectation. You will let them breathe and discover the form they wanted from the start. You will see through flattery that seeks rent. You will recognize the eyes of workers, not takers. You will cultivate rooms where honest effort replaces spectacle. Old shame will attempt a last echo. It will sound far away and faint. You will notice it, nod once, and keep walking because your hands are too full with what is real to cradle ghosts. Archangel Michael says, the decision stands. It does not need your panic to stay in place, it needs your agreement. Agreement is not striving, it is choosing the path you were built to walk. When fear knocks, you will not stage a debate. You will check for signal, find none, and let the knock fade without ceremony. This is a new reflex, and it will save you years. Your confidence will not turn you into someone else. It will turn you into yourself without the old edits. People may be surprised by the steadiness, but it is not arrogance, it is alignment. This alignment makes you kinder. You can afford to be generous because your identity is no longer for sale. You will lead without hoarding, and your yes will teach others how to choose theirs. Tables will appear that are worthy of your work. Some will be familiar, now healed. Others will be new, and they will ask for what only you can bring without burning yourself to bring it. The clock that once taunted you with scarcity will become simple time again. Hours will not bully you, they will partner with you. You will measure days by presence, not by panic. The season for apologizing for existing is over. You enter rooms as one assigned, not as one begging for permission. This will feel strange for a week and natural by the month's turn. Quiet will be your amplifier. What you produce in it will travel farther than any shouted announcement. You will stop chasing reach and start hosting depth, and the reach will take care of itself. You will not need to overcomplicate your next steps. One action a day, aligned and completed, will outpace 100 frenzies. Completion will become your new kind of thrill. When you look back, you will honor the older version of you who kept walking without applause. You will thank them by living fully now. You will not waste the pain, you will invest it into wisdom. The field in front of you is not empty, it is ready. The ground holds a welcome that was waiting for your courage. Plant here, and you will see growth in patterns that make sense inside and out. The secret meeting adjourns with peace. The kind of peace that does not flinch when the door clicks shut. The kind that follows you home and sits in your chair and teaches your hands to unclench. Step forward. Not with drama, with certainty. The world may not understand your shift, but your soul does, and that is enough for this beginning. Your days are about to become honest friends. They will greet you with clarity instead of riddles. You will respond with presence instead of performance. This is not the end, it is the turn. You have the scroll in your chest, the map in your pocket, and the key in your hand. The corridor opens, and the light holds. Walk into the room that bears your name in letters that do not fade. Sit in the chair that does not wobble. Speak with the voice that no longer trembles to be true. The final decision is not a firework that dies in smoke. It is a sunrise that keeps arriving. It will meet you tomorrow the same as it meets you now. Carry this. Guard it. Live it. Archangel Michael says, the corridor widens into a gallery of thresholds waiting for your footsteps. Each threshold is labeled with a lesson you've already paid for and will never have to purchase again. You recognize the cost and you recognize the freedom, and for once they are the same thing. A blue thread appears at your feet and winds forward like a guide through tall grass. It does not pull you, it invites you to match. And it swings open to reveal an empty theater. Seats that once hosted loud opinion are covered in a thin film of dust. The stage is still, the curtains are calm, and the echo that used to chase you has no breath left. Another door reads, Comparison, and behind it hangs a row of mirrors that once shrank your shoulders. You stand before them and watch the glass correct itself like a lake smoothing after a stone splash. Your reflection meets your eyes and refuses to flinch. There is a room named Pace, where clocks are set to the rhythm of lungs, not deadlines. In this room, rising early is not punishment and resting is not a sin. Time puts its hand on your shoulder like a friend and walks beside you instead of ahead of you with a whip. You hear pages turning in a chamber called record. The books there do not tally your failures, they inventory your recoveries. Every return is written in deliberate ink, and the repeat entries shine brighter than the first. Archangel Michael says, a window opens and lets in a steady wind that smells like resolute mornings. The wind carries soft bells that ring when you move in alignment. Where you step off your path, the bells go quiet, where you return, they sing. A hush falls as a silver tray is carried in with 3 small items. The first is a compass, the second is a seed, and the third is a letter sealed with wax. You know instinctively that they are for travel, growth, and truth. The compass uses peace as its north, and its needle settles whenever your heart does. It does not spin for drama or point toward convenience. It prefers what will last to what will trend. The seed is for a plot of ground you had not considered precious. You plant it where you used to waste your patience, in the corner of your life that felt too ordinary to matter. The soil receives it as if waiting for years, and the ground sighs with relief. The letter is addressed in your own handwriting, written by a future you who remembers this meeting as turning point, not ceremony. You break the wax and read lines that land like steps. They do not sell a dream, they schedule a devotion. The letter tells you to keep a soft place to land in your own home. It tells you to make a chair by a window where morning can find your face. It tells you to guard a small hour for review and a small hour for play. You leave the gallery and enter a hall called Alliance. Here, the chairs are set for people who value truth more than drama. They have their own assignments and they do not want your role, they want your wholeness. In this hall, collaboration is not a tug-of-war rope, it is a bridge with your name on one side and theirs on the other. When you meet in the middle, the bridge hums with the same note as your compass. From there, you cross together into work that will not betray you. A thin door stands at the back with no sign, like a secret you have permission to know. Behind it is a small workshop with tools carefully arranged. Each tool fits your hand as if measured when you were sleeping. You run your fingers over a plane that smooths harsh edges off your own sentences. You pick up a chisel that carves boundaries without carving people. You heft a mallet that drives stakes where your life must not be trespassed. Archangel Michael says, the workshop is yours whenever you need precision rather than noise. It is not a place to hide, it is a place to refine. You will visit it before you make decisions that change a season. As you leave, a lantern lights and floats at your shoulder. It is small, patient, and bright enough to read by. You will not stumble because you had the courage to create your own light and carry it. The corridor turns softly and opens into a courtyard where the air feels like the first afternoon after storms. In the center is a fountain that keeps the sound of gentle water. Around the fountain are benches made of the same wood as your new chair, steady, quiet, kind. You sit and listen to the way the water speaks in patterns. It tells you that consistency is not dull, it is shelter. It tells you that rhythm is protection, not prison. A gatekeeper approaches, carrying a ledger with your name pressed into the cover. They ask for no payment, they announce a remission. Debts of explanation that you never owed are cancelled in full. The gatekeeper reads your record like someone pronouncing a blessing, the cycle of getting ready to get ready has ended. Your shoulders drop and your jaw unclenches. You realize how much you were waiting for permission that had already been given. From the far side of the courtyard, a child's laughter floats like sunlight. It reminds you of freedom that existed before you learned performance. You stand and follow the sound because it belongs to you. You find a garden with markers for curiosity, practice, and play. You kneel at curiosity and find a stack of blank pages. You kneel at practice and find a metronome that never judges your pace. You kneel at play and find a jump rope made of light. The jump rope spins without tangling and teaches your feet to enjoy movement again. The pages invite drawing maps you will actually walk. The metronome clicks softly until your heartbeat and your days agree. On a stone near the roses is a sentence carved by a careful hand, trust what your peace knows faster than your fear can explain. You trace the letters and feel their shape settle into yours. It is the kind of sentence that keeps you from trading destiny for rush. Archangel Michael says, the meeting returns to the scroll, which has opened itself to a page called Return. This page speaks of things you didn't know you lost. It speaks of laughter at your own table and hours that taste like clean water. The page lists language, appetite, and weather of the soul. Your language will become precise without sharpness. Your appetite will seek what builds, not what briefly bribes your senses. The weather of your soul will choose climate over forecast. A bell rings 3 times, and each ring corresponds to a gate in your life. The first rings over your mornings, the second over your midnights, the third over your meetings. In those places, clarity stands guard and disorder learns to knock before it enters. You are handed a coat that closes against old wind. It fits without pinching and it moves when you do. Under it, your chest feels protected enough to breathe the way your lungs always wanted. Beyond the garden, a path descends into a valley called Reclaim. There, the ground is soft but firm, the kind you can run on without hurting your knees. You choose a pace that respects your history and honors your hunger. Along the valley edge stand banners from days when you thought you failed. They are not trophies, but they are not warnings either. They are markers that say, "Here you learned what outlives applause." A river crosses the valley with stepping stones spaced like measures in a song. You step on the first and feel a memory release from your ankles. You step on the second and feel your spine stand taller without effort. On the third stone, you remember an old promise you made to yourself and forgot to keep. You speak it again without drama. This time, it feels like a key sliding home. You climb a low hill and find a watchtower whose stairs are gentle and well lit. At the top is a clear view of the roads that converge at the place you stand. You see where you came from with tenderness and where you are going with calm certainty. Archangel Michael says, "What you perceive from this height will keep you from believing the next illusion." Illusion will dress itself as urgency and bargain for your attention. You will learn to ask for proof from your peace and wait until it arrives. A messenger arrives carrying a pouch of small, flat stones engraved with short imperatives. Choose slow, choose clean, choose real. You are told to place them in your pockets and let your hands find them when anxious hours try to rush you. From the tower you descend into an alcove carved with the word delight. This alcove is not childish, it is holy. It reminds you that joy is not a reward, it is fuel. You light a candle and set it in the alcove, and the flame flickers with the same tone as the map's small fires. When you turn away, the candle refuses to die. It promises to be waiting even on days that ask too much of you. A door opens onto a narrow bridge over waters called Opinion. The water can get loud, but it never rises high enough to touch the bridge. You cross with steady steps, your hand on the rail of truth. On the other side, you enter a library labeled Discernment. The shelves are arranged by clarity rather than subject. A librarian with kind eyes hands you a card that grants lifetime access and smiles like they've been waiting to do that for years. The first book you pull is thin and titled, "No." Each page teaches, "No," as kindness to yourself and invitation to the right, "Yes." You read for a while and then place the book in your bag where it feels heavier than its size in a good way. The second book is titled Unrush. Its chapters are only a paragraph each, like sips of air. You finish the book without trying, and it leaves you taller. The third book is titled Steady Bravery. It does not celebrate dramatic leaps, it honors daily presence. When you close it, your hands find a new way to rest on your knees, open, not clenched. Archangel Michael says, it is time to revisit the Hall of Alliance, because your alignment has changed the kind of people who can find you. You enter to see new faces and familiar ones whose eyes are cleaner now. When you speak, they listen without waiting to argue their turn. A table is spread with simple food that satisfies without stunning. You eat enough and do not apologize for appetite or for stopping when your body is finished. The conversation nourishes instead of drains, and no one asks you to shrink to fit a story. After the meal, a gentle bell calls you to a room named Commission. It is quiet in the way a stage is quiet before a symphony begins. The scroll from earlier is placed before you, and its edges glow softly. A hand signs your name beside the decrees. This is not paperwork, it is partnership. The agreement is honored without your panic and carried without your exhaustion. You are told the decision has been registered in the place where real things are recorded. That archive cannot be hacked by rumor or fear. Its entries adjust the weight of days and the tilt of rooms. A small door opens in the floor and reveals a ladder down to root. You descend, not to bury yourself, but to understand your depth. Down here, you meet quiet that is not empty and soil that likes your feet. Root is where you trade the last of your self-distraction for actual care. It is where you build simple meals, simple movements, simple thoughts that strengthen everything else. The ladder teaches you that going down can be the most upward move of all. You come up and the air feels more yours than before. The floor of the room answers your steps like a well-tuned drum. You bow your head once in gratitude that needs no words. Archangel Michael says, "The gates of visibility will open soon, and you will enter without begging your way in." You will not have to manufacture momentum, you will steward it. Your face will look like rest, and rest will look like leadership. A new instrument is placed in your hands, tuned to your tone. It does not require virtuosity overnight. It requires relationship. You practice without the courtroom of your mind buzzing at the door. As you play, doors you couldn't see begin to unlock, not by spectacle, but by agreement with the sound of your truth. Rooms turn toward your frequency. People who needed what you carry recognize it without a sales pitch. Your workbench receives a blueprint titled Sustainable. The lines are clean and clear. There is no wing of the house labeled Overwhelm. The blueprint asks you to build with sequence rather than sprint. Foundation, frame, roof, then paint. You will not decorate before you are dry. The paint arrives last and smells like mercies that are new at daybreak. The color is the one your heart used to draw when you were small and brave. You paint as if you are remembering, not inventing. Archangel Michael says, the decision has a clause called spillover. It means the health you cultivate will overflow quietly into those who sit near your life. It will not be forced or marketed. It will be caught. You receive a basket labeled provision, woven with patience and wisdom. It fills and empties on rhythm and never tears. The rhythm protects you from the fear that once made your hands snatch. On your way out of the room, a scribe stops you and slips a ribbon into your palm. The ribbon is for marking pages when you must pause. It whispers that pausing is not forfeiting, it is remaining. You return to the courtyard and the fountain is brighter than before. Waterfall threads catch sunlight and throw it gently around the stones. You sit and understand that ease is not laziness, it is skilled trust. The gate that leads back to your day opens and closes on hinges that do not squeal. You step through and feel the meeting follow you like a well-fitted coat. The street is the same and you are not, and that is the whole point. You walk home and notice the world is not pushing you from behind or pulling you from the front. It is walking beside you at the pace of a friend. You laugh once, quietly, because it feels new to move like this. The next morning, your room remembers the decision before your mind catches up. The light at the edges of the curtain greets you like a confidant. Your shoes feel like allies, not obligations. You prepare a simple breakfast and eat it like a promise kept. You schedule one thing that matters and finish it, then rest without bargaining against yourself. The day nods in approval and moves you gently to the next right thing. Messages arrive that fit, not flood. Invitations come shaped like peace, not pressure. You say yes and no in sentences that do not wobble. At midday, you pause and place your hand on your chest in a gesture you learned en route. Your breath meets your palm like a friend. You keep your own company without needing to escape it. In the evening, you review with a kind eye. You stack the day's small wins into a tower that does not mock your pace. The tower stands because it was built on completion, not on the fantasy of a different you. Days string together like steady lanterns on a line. The wind may tug, but the line holds because you tied the knots yourself. Wholeness stops being a project and becomes your habitat. Archangel Michael says, in public you will notice a gentle reversal. Rooms that asked you to audition will now request your presence with respect. You will decline performances that cost identity. Your private life grows color and dimension. You enjoy your own laughter again and keep space for quiet meals. You notice the weather of your soul and dress accordingly. You find that old triggers have lost their codes. Doors you once feared are no longer connected to alarms. You step through and nothing shrieks. On a morning that looks like any other, you realize the 45-second window never really closed, it became the way you time your choices. Quick to align, slow to rush, this is your new reflex. The meeting did not expire, it multiplied. You keep the compass near. You plant more seeds where patience used to die. You reread the letter when the air gets loud and your feet get fidgety. And when opportunities arrive glittering but hollow, you find your hand reaching for the stone carved, choose real. The stone warms in your palm, and the mirage dissolves without a scene. You return to your lane with a smile that does not ask for witness. The witnesses from the meeting remain present in the background of your hours like quiet stars. Their applause is not needed, but it is felt. It reminds you that solitude is not abandonment when you are aligned. People come and go with cleaner edges. You bless both. You make room for those who build and release the hands of those who don't. Your body knows the schedule now. It trusts that rest will come and that work will be meaningful. The nervous system releases its last counterfeit alerts. Workdays become chapters rather than skirmishes. Creative hours begin without the old courtroom and end without a hung jury. Your output is honest and therefore light. At the end of a week, you look at what you made and see yourself in it, the healed parts, the learning parts, the brave parts that kept showing up. You thank the version of you who stayed when leaving would have been fashionable. You promise to keep them close by doing what you said you would do. Archangel Michael says, what started as a rescue has matured into a rhythm. You no longer chase signs, signs accompany you. You no longer cling to doors, doors recognize your arrival and open. And so the corridors of your life, once a maze of shoulds and shouts, have become a pilgrimage of clear steps and kind hours. The secret meeting was never a secret to love, it was a revelation to you. You carry it now not like a trophy, but like breath. When you rest tonight, the room will not vibrate with unfinished proving. It will exhale with you. You will fall asleep inside the decision that still holds and wake under the same canopy of clarity. Tomorrow will not demand that you earn what has already been signed. It will invite you to move with what you are. The invitation will be gentle and persistent, the way tides are. You will answer it with a life that fits, a voice that rings true, a pace that keeps you whole. And from this wholeness, everything appointed to you will find enough room to land and enough roots to last. Walk on, quietly luminous, deeply sure, and entirely yourself. Archangel Michael says, the morning arrives with a quiet authority that did not need to announce itself. You feel it first in the steadiness of your breath and then in the way your steps land without flinching. The decision from the meeting has followed you into daylight and sits on your shoulder like a loyal guide. You open the window and let the air reset the room. The light touches your table and turns ordinary objects into reminders. The cup becomes calm, the pen becomes purpose, the chair becomes a promise kept. You begin, not because you are pushed, but because you are aligned. Your work moves like water finding its level. Tasks that used to feel heavy fit into place with soft clicks. You do one thing fully, then the next thing cleanly, and the day respects your sequence. A message arrives from someone who once misunderstood your quiet. Their tone is different, and their words carry weight instead of noise. They ask for a conversation when it suits your schedule, not theirs alone. You answer without rushing. You choose a time that keeps you whole. When the call happens, respect enters the room first and the exchange lands where both can stand tall. In the afternoon, you walk through a street that used to carry your nerves. The street has not changed, but your nervous system has learned a safer song. Your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, and the ground answers your steps like a calm drum. A store window catches your reflection and shows you evidence, no shrinking, no pretending, no bracing for an impact that never arrives. You nod once to the person in the glass, not as performance, but as agreement. You keep moving with a pace that is yours. Archangel Michael says, these first evidences are the proof that the meeting was not a dream. You return home to a table arranged with your next small build. The blueprint labeled Sustainable is open to a page titled Sequence. You run your hand down the list and feel the rightness of sturdy order: prepare, begin, refine, complete, rest. Evening arrives without the old alarm bells. You cook a simple meal and eat it like a vow to live, not merely to get through. The room exhales with you and the day closes clean. Night brings the kind of sleep that repairs. You do not negotiate with the clock. You lie down and your bones remember safety, your heart remembers what steady feels like, and your mind finally steps off the spinning wheel. At first light, a date from the map rises to meet you. It looks ordinary on the calendar, but it carries ease. A quiet appointment opens into favor with a door you used to circle without entry. You enter without a script and speak from truth. The conversation lands like a key in a lock. Terms that would once have cost you your peace now align with your boundaries. A person at the table whispers a sentence you needed to hear: "We value the way you build." It is not flattery, it is recognition. It confirms you are no longer auditioning for chairs that wobble on purpose. The agreement takes shape with clean lines. Delivery dates are realistic, compensation is fair, and expectations are written instead of implied. You sign without the tremor that used to accompany compromise. Archangel Michael says, the clause called spillover begins to show. Your steadiness steadies rooms. Your pacing invites healthier pacing in others without a speech. At home, laughter returns without the edge it carried when you had to prove you were fine. You hear your own voice and it sounds like you. It does not apologize for filling the space it was designed to fill. You place the compass on your desk where you can see it at a glance. Its needle points to peace every time you return to yourself. When pressure tries to distort your direction, you look at the needle and choose the path that keeps your breath honest. Midweek, a glittering shortcut appears with all the right edges on paper and all the wrong edges in your chest. You feel the knot instead of arguing with it. You step back without drama and the mirage dissolves. The reward for that no arrives in clarity. An email lands that matches your tone, your timing, and your terms. What was almost right gives way to what is aligned. You schedule a small hour for review as the letter instructed. You look over your days and circle the actions that produced ease. You mark the ones that added friction and choose cleaner versions for next time. Your body trusts you more. It sleeps when you say sleep and wakes when you say wake. The ache behind your eyes softens because you are no longer forcing yourself to carry what is not yours. In the corridor of your life, the door labeled visibility opens on its own hinges. A mention in a place you respect arrives without a pitch. Your work is seen for what it actually is, not what noise tried to make it. You reply with gratitude and steadiness. You choose the interviews that honor substance over spectacle. You decline the ones that want your shine without your truth. Archangel Michael says, gentleness is now your strength. You do not need to raise your voice for your words to carry. You are believed because you are consistent. A friend calls and asks to sit in your quiet for an hour. They do not need advice, they need the climate around your life. You brew tea and share silence that heals without announcement. This is how your influence moves now, by habitat, not by hype. Those who visit leave with their own breath steadier. They do not need your applause to become themselves, they need your example. You plant another seed in the corner called ordinary. You water it with unhurried attention, 10 minutes of practice, 15 minutes of planning, 20 minutes of honest work. The soil answers with growth you can feel before you can measure. On the map, the second date arrives with the sound of a door unlocking from the inside. A relationship that lingered in stale misunderstanding clears in a single conversation that honors both histories. Both voices are clear, both motives are humble, both futures are given room. You do not over-explain or over-own. You say what is true and leave space for grace to do what force never could. The room lightens because you did not carry both sides alone. A letter from the archive arrives with your name pressed into the seal. It confirms that the decrees, restoration, protection, acceleration with wisdom, have been registered under your days. It lists 2 more adjustments, joy without apology, and boundaries without blade. You observe how joy now arrives on time instead of sneaking in with guilt. You let it sit at your table and stay for dessert. It does not ask for permission, it carries it. Your boundaries stand without spikes. They are fences painted in calm colors that say, "Welcome," to what nourishes and, "Not here," to what devours. People who love truth understand them without needing to be cut by them. Archangel Michael says, the last of the old weather is leaving your house. A window that stuck for years slides open smoothly. Air moves through the rooms and the walls remember how to breathe. You walk the perimeter with the oil and touch the edges that frame your life. You do not perform the gesture, you practice it. The practice turns your rooms into sanctuary first for you, then for those who can sit gently. Across town, rumors that once grew in darkness find no oxygen. They fall apart in the mouths that carried them. Silence replaces slander, and then respect replaces silence. Work invites you into a project that does not shrink your soul. The timeline makes sense, the team is aligned, and the goal is honest. You say yes and feel energy, not dread. In the first meeting, your idea arrives quietly but lands with weight. Heads nod not because they are impressed, but because they recognize usefulness. The plan incorporates your suggestion without ceremony and the work lifts. You pause midweek for play. You pick up the jump rope of light and remember the rhythm of joy that expects nothing and leaves you fuller. You laugh at a small mistake and keep going without the old shame chorus. The third date on the map approaches like a gentle tide. An introduction becomes friendship that becomes collaboration that becomes legacy. You do not rush its shape, you respect its phases. Archangel Michael says, legacy is awake, not a billboard. You will see it in how people breathe easier after sharing a room with you. You will hear it in the silence that follows your words, when pressure dissolves and clarity takes the chair. A parcel arrives at your door wrapped in plain paper. Inside is the mirror from the meeting, now sized for your wall. You hang it where morning light finds it, and it will not fog with other people's opinions. You dress without defending yourself against imagined critics. Your clothes fit your day and your identity. You look like you, not like a version trained by fear. An old anxiety tries one last time to audition for your attention. It arrives as a list of what-if calamities. You place your palm on your chest, feel your breath arrive, and the list loses its power because it is no longer in charge of your body. The blueprint grows a new wing labeled spare. It holds margin for interruption and care. You plan with room for life to be life. Your table hosts people who build with their hands and with their words. The conversations contain laughter, plans, and quiet minutes where gratitude sits like a guest of honor. No one here asks you to betray yourself to belong. Archangel Michael says, the season of proving has ended so thoroughly that the old language does not fit in your mouth. You do not say yes when you mean maybe. You do not say maybe when you mean no. You tell the truth and walk in it. A window in your workspace looks out on a tree that has been there longer than your worry. You watch its leaves change and understand you do not need to be eternal to be faithful. You show up in season and let the seasons do their part. Your calendar shows fewer boxes but deeper colors. Each commitment carries meaning and leaves you with energy for the next. You are done with crowded days that leave you emptier than waking. At night you write a short line in a small book about one choice you made that kept you whole. The book thickens with proof. On hard days you open anywhere and remember you have practiced your way to this peace. You visit the workshop and pick up the plane to smooth a phrase that came out too sharp. You run it over the edge until the sentence keeps its strength without cutting. You place the sentence somewhere it can help. A message lands with gratitude from someone who watched your steady bravery from a distance. They tell you they have started choosing slow, clean, real. You bless them and keep building without trying to own their transformation. Archangel Michael says, abundance is arriving in a manner that respects your nervous system. It will not flood your house to prove a point. It will fill your baskets on rhythm until trust becomes your reflex. Provision flows through channels that are honest and clear. Opportunities match your values and make your yes light. You give from fullness and the giving increases the fullness. You keep the stones in your pocket and reach for them when the world accelerates beyond wisdom. Choose slow grounds your feet. Choose clean clears your eyes. Choose real settles your hands. A room you once feared is now a room you host. You set the tone without dominating the air. People exhale when you enter, not because you impress them, but because your presence is an invitation to be true. You revisit the watchtower and see how far you have walked since the day of the meeting. The road behind you glows with recovery. The road ahead curves in kindness. Down below, the river named opinion continues to make noise, but you move across the bridge with confidence born of practice. Noise is a fact, not an instruction. Signal governs your steps. You return to your chair that does not wobble. You sit in the authority that asks nothing from you except honesty. Your voice holds, your hands steady, your eyes clear. Archangel Michael says, this chapter is not a sprint to a final moment. It is a long obedience to your true name. It is a series of days that add up to a life that fits. You honor your body as a partner. You feed it with food that builds, move it with respect, rest it with intention. It responds with trust and strength. Your mind rests in the truth that you are on time for the version of you that can carry what you asked for. You no longer attempt to borrow from a future you to survive a present day. You invest in the present and the future thanks you when it arrives. Your relationships clean themselves through the sieve of your alignment. Those meant to stay, stay with clarity. Those meant to pass, pass without theatrical endings. In work, you complete what you start because you start only what you can complete. Completion becomes your signature. People learn that your yes is a finished bridge, not a sketch. The seasons turn and your practice deepens. Roots hold in weather that would have uprooted the older you. Leaves fall and return in cycles you trust. Archangel Michael says, the secret meeting continues to echo through every room where you live and serve. Each echo is a reminder to breathe, to choose, to build. Each echo is a bell that keeps you within the timing that protects you. You write letters to your future self and answer letters from your past with kindness. You do not scold old versions, you thank them for survival and invite them to rest. Integration replaces fragmentation. When the next large door opens, you do not rush through to prove you can. You step through with presence, check your compass, and match the room's assignment with your capacity. The door blesses you as you pass. The final span of this movement settles like evening light across a field you planted. You see green beginning where there was only planning. You see fruit forming where there was only faithfulness. You gather some, share some, save some. You live without hoarding because the source has become more real than the swings of circumstance. This is how fear loses its last leverage. Archangel Michael says, "Keep your hand on your heart and your eye on your peace." The map is alive, the scroll is sealed with your name, the key is warm in your palm. Walk on as one who knows the room will respond to truth. You are not racing a vanishing clock anymore. You are moving inside a decision that endures. Each day will meet you with the same quiet authority: build what is yours, bless what is around you, and belong to your life. When you lay down tonight, the air will fold you into rest that mends. When you rise, the morning will greet you without demand. The rhythm will hold, and you will hold with it. If you want me to deliver the grand finale section next, say, "Continue," and I'll bring this to a close with the final sealing lines and include your single requested sentence exactly once at the very end.